Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below with what your baseball picks are for Wednesday's games. Now, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. I'm running a daily $15 MLB best bet, so check that out at Pick Dawgz Premium. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, May 11th. First up, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Jose Barrios and Jameson Taillon are your starters here. Now, the Yankees offense has struggled a little bit as of late, but going up against Jose Barrios here, I think the bats wake up in the Bronx in this spot. You know, Jose Barrios on the season, a 5.34 ERA and a 7.69 expected ERA. He is not pitching well for the Blue Jays this season. On the other side, Jameson Taillon has pitched well for the Yankees, 2.84 ERA. Really, the entire Yankees starting rotation has pitched well thus far, and Taillon's been a part of that this season, coming off a 6-inning, 1-run performance against these Blue Jays in a 9-1 Yankees win. In the last 4 games that Taillon has pitched, the Yankees have won the game outright, and in all 4 of those games, they covered the run line as well. I'm not going to lay the run line in this spot. I think the money line price is good enough where it is, so I'm going to take the Yankees on the money line. In our next game, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, we don't have an official starter listed for the Pirates quite yet, but we should see the top pitching prospect in the Dodgers organization in Ryan Pepiot making his Major League debut here. Now, Pepiot has pitched 26 1/3 innings in AAA Oklahoma City this season. He's got a 2.05 ERA, a 1.139 whip. Has a little bit of an issue with the walks. He's given up 4.1 walks per 9 this year, but only 0.3 home runs per 9. He's got 12.3 strikeouts per 9 as well as this year. He can miss a lot of bats. And, you know, with no starter announced for the Pirates quite yet, kind of a guessing game in this one. The Dodgers have really been dominant against this Pirates team in the last few years, last 5 years. Dodgers have a great record against the Buccos, home or away. So, you know, not a game I'm crazy about, especially without knowing who's going to go for the Pirates. I'll lean towards the Dodgers on the run line here, but definitely a game I'm not going to be touching. Next up, we see the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Now, Adrian Hauser and Vladimir Gutierrez should be the starters in this one. And we've seen the Reds compete in this series thus far. They were able to take Game 1, and they've actually won a few games as of late, which is definitely promising to see for a team that went on a big losing streak to start the year. But I don't really like their chances in this spot with Gutierrez on the mound. He just really struggled this season. 0-5 with an 8.86 ERA. He's only got 13 strikeouts in 21 1/3 innings. He's allowing way too many walks. In his last 8 1/3 innings of work, he's given up 8 walks. He's also given up 3 home runs in that stretch. He's given up at least 1 home run in his last 3 outings, and that includes 2 home runs and 7 earned runs against this Milwaukee lineup. Last time he faced them on May 4th, it was an 18-4 Brewers win in that game. He's lost all 5 games that he's pitched in, and he's earned the loss in all 5 of those games. Just cannot back him here, especially at a hitter-friendly park in Great American. Adrian Hauser has pitched well for the Brewers this season. Yeah, I do think the Reds bats can get to him because the Reds bats have been heating up, especially at Great American. But a 3.16 FIP, he's not allowing home runs at all, 0.34 homers per 9, which you like to see that when you're pitching at Great American. So I think he has a decent outing, and I think the Brewers can get to Gutierrez. So I'm going to take the Brewers on the run line. Next up, we see the Chicago White Sox taking on the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to see Aaron Savale and Vince Velasquez as your starters in this one. And we see both pitchers, 2 guys that are really susceptible to the home run ball. You know, Savale's given up at least 1 home run in his last 4 outings of work. That's one of the big reasons why he has a 9.45 ERA this year. On the other side, Vince Velasquez only a 1.19 home runs per 9 rating this season, but in the past, he's been consistently in the 10% home run to fly ball ratio category. Last year, 2.19 home runs per 9 allowed. He has had issues with the long ball, really wherever he's pitched. And I do think, against a Cleveland Guardians team that's been so good against righties, I do think he is in trouble in this spot. I think we're going to see plenty of offense from both teams in here. I'd lean towards the Guardians on the money line just because you're getting such a good price. But I think the over is the better play in my eyes. This is one of the higher totals we're going to see for Wednesday's games. I think it makes the most sense as well. So give me the over in the Guardians White Sox. In our next game, we see the Miami Marlins taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. And we should see Sandy Alcantara and Merrill Kelly as the starters in this one. Now, to me, I wouldn't be surprised if this game was not decided by the starting pitchers. I think both guys are going to have quality outings. We've seen it all year from them. pitching well this season. Alcantara, a 2.87 ERA on the road this year. Merrill Kelly, a 1.22 ERA overall this season. So I wouldn't be surprised to see both guys have quality outings, but I think the Marlins lineup and bullpen are a lot better than Arizona's right now. I know the Diamondbacks have a lot of power against righties this year, but against Alcantara, guys only given up 3 home runs this entire season in 35 plus innings of work. I'm not sure that's going to really bode well for him in this spot. On the other side, the Marlins, top 15 in baseball in team OPS against righties. Like I mentioned, I do think they have the better bullpen here, and you're getting a really good price with Miami as well as the underdog. So I'm going to take the Marlins on the money line in this spot. In our next game, we see the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Seattle Mariners. Bailey Falter and Logan Gilbert are the projected starters as of now. We don't see an official line for this game quite yet, so we could see a pitching change or a scratch. But if these are the starters for this one, I do like the Mariners on the money line. I do say to pump the brakes a little bit on Logan Gilbert. A lot of people are really impressed with him to start the year, and there's no surprise why. 1.36 ERA, 33 strikeouts in 33 innings. He is pitching well, but last time out got roughed up a bit. 7 hits, 4 runs total. 3 of them were earned. 3 walks against the Rays, and only 5 innings of work. The Phillies lineup, I wouldn't be surprised if they did a little bit of damage on him, but on the other side, Bailey Falter, I just cannot trust him in this spot. He's pitched 7 1/3 innings this year, only 3.68 Ks per 9. He's given up 2.45 home runs per 9. He has a 4.91 ERA, but an 8.12 expected ERA. I just can't trust him in this spot, and I think the Mariners lineup will do a little bit too much damage for the Phillies to have a chance in this spot. So give me the Mariners on the money line at home. Next up, we see the Colorado Rockies taking on the San Francisco Giants. We should see Chad Cole and Alex Cobb as your starters for this game. Now, I do think this is another spot to fade the Rockies on the run line here. I'm going to take the Giants and lay the 1.5. Chad Cole, a 1.82 ERA, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to pitch like that for much longer. I do think with only 22 strikeouts in 29 2/3 innings, he is pitching a little bit unsustainably. Last time out, he didn't really get burned by the Diamondbacks, but you look at the 5 teams he's faced this year: the Rangers, Phillies, Phillies solid lineup, but the Rangers, Tigers, Reds, Diamondbacks, a lot of weak teams. You're facing a Giants team that's solid against righties this year, and they're at home. Not to mention, Alex Cobb is a guy that I really like going into the year. We've seen mixed results from him, a 4.8 ERA, not the best, but 22 strikeouts this year in limited work, only 15 innings of work this season. And last time pitched pretty well against the Cardinals. The Rockies have struggled so badly against righties on the road this year. A lot better at Coors Field with the sticks. And I think they're going to struggle offensively in this spot as well. So I'm going to lay the run line with San Francisco at home. Next up, we're going to see the game between the Chicago Cubs and the San Diego Padres. Now, with Nick Martinez on the mound for the Padres, I think this is a spot where the dog does have some value. Nick Martinez does have that 3.38 ERA, but as I've mentioned for most of this season, I don't think it's going to be sustainable whatsoever. A 5.34 expected ERA, 5.44 FIP this season. The biggest reason for that, he's allowing a lot of walks at 4.39 walks per 9, and he's giving up a good amount of home runs, 1.69 homers per 9. Not really getting a ton of strikeouts. Really, in his entire Major League career, we haven't seen the strikeout numbers. Only a career 5.27 Ks per 9 rating. I'm not sure he's a viable option in this Padres rotation, especially for a team that's looking to be a contender this year. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be able to pitch in this rotation. He's getting good results right now, but I can't trust him going forward. So I'm going to take the Cubs on the run line here. I think they keep this game close, have a chance to win it outright, but I'll take my 1.5 runs. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Washington Nationals. We're going to see Tyler McGill and Aaron Sanchez as your starters in this one. Now, it may be tempting to take the underdog at home here, getting such a good price, plus money price with the home dog, but I really can't trust Aaron Sanchez in this spot. Not only has he struggled this year, but the Mets have just really done well against right-handed pitching, ranked second in baseball in team OPS against righties this season, and Sanchez, 8.56 ERA. He's got 9 strikeouts in 13 2/3 innings. I'd like to see that number rise. The home runs, he's given up at least 1 homer in his last 2 outings. He gave up 6 earned runs last time out against the Rockies. And I think the Mets are going to get to him in this spot. Tyler McGill has pitched really well for the Mets as their number 2 guy right now in the rotation. So give me the Mets on the run line here. Try to get a better price with the road team in New York. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Los Angeles Angels. And man, do we have a very entertaining pitching matchup on our hands. I think 2 of the best starters in the American League right now. Shohei Ohtani going up against Shane McClanahan. Man, this is going to be a great game. We see it on Fox Sports 1 national televised. Not crazy about this game in terms of betting, just because I really wouldn't want to go against either of these starters right now. But I do think the Angels lineup is stronger. I think Ohtani is a slightly better starter as well. So I will lean towards the Angels on the money line here. But just to go over some of these stats for these pitchers, I mean, Shane McClanahan, 47 strikeouts in 32 and third innings. But Ohtani, 41 strikeouts and 26 in the third innings. Both guys miss a ton of bats. McClanahan has had issues with the home run ball, which does worry me a bit against a very powerful Angels lineup. 5 home runs allowed this season in 32 and a third. I like to see that number shrink a little bit. And with the way Ohtani has looked as of late on the mound, he struggled a little bit to start the season, but that's why his ERA is only at 3.08. It should be a lot lower when you look at how well he's pitched recently in his last few starts. I like the Angels in this spot, but a game I'm going to be watching rather than playing. Next up, we see the Oakland Athletics taking on the Detroit Tigers. We should see Zach Logue and Joey Wentz as the starting pitchers for this contest. Now, 2 young starters going at it in this one. I have to lean towards the over here. I haven't been impressed with the way these offenses have looked lately, but really can't get behind either starter here. Zach Logue, 8.53 Ks per 9, solid number there, and a 2.84 ERA is very sharp on paper, but he's given up a lot of home runs and a lot of walks to start the year. We've also seen that in the minor leagues. He had a 2.81 home runs per 9 in the AAA and a 2.84 home runs per 9 in the major leagues thus far. 4.5 walks per 9 in AAA, 4.26 walks per 9 in the major leagues. So kind of similar numbers from AAA to the major leagues. Gives him a 7.98 expected ERA this season. And I know it's only been 6 in the third innings, but still, we saw some of that in the minor leagues as well in AAA. On the other side, Joey Wentz, although he is able to miss bats like Logue is as well, 4.12 ERA this year. A lot of that because of the home runs and the walks. So when you have 2 starters that give up a lot of walks and a lot of home runs, it usually can mean a lot of offense from both sides in this one. So I do think the offenses wake up here, and I'm going to lean towards the over, but not my favorite game. Next up, we see the Boston Red Sox taking on the Atlanta Braves. Now in this game, I do think this is a good spot to take the underdog. Nathan Eovaldi, 2.94 ERA this year. He started off the season pretty slow. As of late, he's pitched well. Last time out, gave up 3 earned runs in 5 innings against the White Sox. Wasn't his best outing, wasn't his worst outing. I think he bounces back here. On the other side, I do really like the Red Sox matchup with Ian Anderson. If you guys have watched the show from the beginning of the season, I am a little bit worried about Ian Anderson this season. The biggest reason for me, he gets behind in the count a lot and walks a lot of batters. We saw that last time out. He didn't really get burned by the Mets, but gave up 4 walks and only 1 strikeout he earned in 5 and a third innings. The Mets were only able to score 1 run in that game, but they had 5 hits and 4 walks in 5 and a third. So they had plenty of base runners. They just couldn't hit well at runners in scoring position. A Red Sox team that needs to put together wins and did get to the starting pitching on Tuesday in the Braves with Kyle Wright. I think the Red Sox get to Anderson here. So give me the Red Sox getting a great price on the road on the money line. Next up, we see the Houston Astros taking on the Minnesota Twins. And in this spot, we see 2 starting pitchers that I really don't have a ton of confidence in Jose Urquidy and Chris Archer. Now, we did see Jose Urquidy pitch well in his last outing. I mean, 6 innings of shutout baseball, but only 3 strikeouts, and it was against the Detroit Tigers. I'm not sure how much I put into that game, but it is enough for me to lean towards the Astros here, as I do think they have the better lineup overall as well. Chris Archer has had a big issue with the home run ball. So is Urquidy, but I think Archer is a little bit more worrisome. When you look, he gave up 2 home runs last time out against the Orioles, a home run in the previous start against the Rays. He really doesn't go deep into ball games either, 3 to 4 innings most, and he's given up home runs in all those outings, walks as well. Strikeouts have been there to an extent, but I don't really trust him against the Astros here. Pretty powerful lineup, so I'm going to take the Astros on the money line here on the road. Next up, we see the Baltimore Orioles taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. We should see Spencer Watkins and Miles Mikolas as the starters for this game. Now, the Cardinals have not hit righties very well this season. They've hit lefties extremely well, righties not so much. But I do like their matchup against Spencer Watkins here. Watkins last time out, 4 2/3 innings, gave up 7 base hits, 2 walks, a home run, and 3 earned runs with only 2 strikeouts. He did a lot of things wrong in that game. His bats were able to back him up. The Orioles did win that game against Minnesota, but he's given up 3 home runs in his last 3 outings. The walks have been an issue. He's not missing a lot of bats. And Miles Mikolas on the other side has been super strong this year. One of the better pitchers in the National League thus far. Didn't really see it coming from Mikolas, but he's limiting a lot of hard contact. He's not walking a lot of batters. and he's getting it done for the Cardinals. He's been arguably their best pitcher this season. So I do think the Cardinals win this game. We've seen the Orioles struggle quite a bit on the road this year. I'll lay the run line with the Cardinals here on the lean. Next up, we see the Kansas City Royals and the Texas Rangers. This will be our final game of the night. And unfortunately for this game, we really don't have a lot of information whatsoever. Neither team has listed a probable starter for this contest. You can look on ESPN.com or MLB.com, and really nothing going on with these two teams right now. In the morning, we should see a lot more information, and that's where you're going to have to just keep checking the websites and see who's going to be pitching here. But I really, in good conscience, can't give out a pick or a lean on a team when I don't even know who's playing in the game. So we're going to have to give out a Ruffalo here, unfortunately. If anybody that doesn't know what a Ruffalo is, it is a pass. I'm just going to have to pass on this game altogether. Just not enough information for me. Both teams kind of similar teams, struggling offensively and pitching-wise. Just really nothing for me to do here without starting pitchers announced. So give me the Ruffalo, the pass in the Rangers-Royals. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday, May 11th. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.